Welcome back everyone, another video of World of Warship Legends, and today we're taking a look at the Legendary Cruiser Worcester, or Worcester, or Worcester, whatever you want to call it. It is a beast of a ship, and we're going to be taking a look at it here today. We're going to do this a little bit differently. Instead of doing just one game and taking a look at that, we're going to start off just looking at the stats, the ship build, and the commander build. Do a deep dive into the armor, and then we're going to finish with some scenarios where this ship really will just succeed and get the most out of it. So first off, let's start with the commander. I'm using Norm Scott. He's my light cruiser captain for all the Americans. Inspirations of Vian and Kuznetsov. The traits I go with: Burn It Down XXL, Igniter, Armed and Ready, Fixated, and Fully Packed. Now that is my build that I'm using right now as we're trying to get the 23 Fires Legendary mission, but I might switch the skill 1 to get additional range at some point, but for now I'm going to leave it as Burn It Down XXL. On the actual ship mods, we're going with Aiming Systems Mod 1, Prop Mod 2, Concealment Mod 1, and then Gunfire Control Mod 2, again increasing that range. And then, so you saw I had Armed and Ready, Vian as an inspiration, and then the Concealment mod. That all stacks on the incoming fire dispersion, which I think is a huge advantage to these cruisers, and something I really like running with. So with that commander build and with that ship build, let's look at the stats. This thing has 6 turrets, 2 guns each turret for a total of 12 guns, 152 millimeters. They have a range of 17.5 kilometers and a 6-second reload time. You see it has a really high shell arc, so you're able to shoot over islands pretty easily. The HE has a max damage of 2200 per shell with a 15% fire chance, and the AP has a max damage of 3200. On the hit pool, we have 45,400 health points, AA rating of 98. Now this is without me selecting any of the AA modules on the ship, without me selecting any perks on Norm Scott that are directed towards AA. So this thing is a beast, and if you build towards it and you're playing a lot of carrier games, you can absolutely make this a virtual no-fly zone. Top speed of 34 knots, rudder shift of 9.2 seconds, and then has a detection range of 11 kilometers. On the consumable side, my build, of course, you have the damage gun. Then we also have 3 sonars, 3 radar charges with a 9-kilometer range, 30-second duration, and 3 heals. Now, I've seen some places that people think this is just another Cleveland, and that's certainly not the case. And this is where it really starts to separate itself. The armor, it has 32 millimeter bow armor, so it has the capability to bounce quite a few shells. In fact, if you're going up against it, the best way to take it on, if it's bow on, is to fire HE. But overall, the Citadel is sitting just a little bit over the waterline there. But it is an extremely difficult ship to kill. As long as it's staying at range where it succeeds the most, it's going to be very hard to kill. Alright, so now let's move over into the scenarios. This is the first one. It's at the very beginning of the match. And the way I like to play this is I want to try to get up and close to the cap point early in the game. And I shot the salvo there because I want the ships coming into B, hopefully a destroyer or two, to believe that I'm heading over to C. And then what I'm going to do is once I get in here a little bit closer, I'm going to wait to be spotted, but I want to give it a little bit more time. So my detection range is 11 kilometers. My radar range is 9. So there's a little bit of a gap there. I went ahead, turned on my sonar early, but the whole goal behind this maneuver is to take out destroyers early. You see, we actually have 2 destroyers in the cap. They immediately start smoking up, and at this point I'm trying to decide which target am I going to shoot. I would like to get the Shimakaze off the map first, but I will take anything I can get. You can see the Fantastic is actually doing a really good job playing around with the rudder and making it very difficult to hit them, but 5-second reload and just that many shells flying at you. This is such a killer. And right here, we're going to finish them off. And this is what I think the ship really excels at. Is getting these early kills. Taking out the destroyers early. Because I didn't really put myself at much risk. You see, I'm backing up immediately. Trying to make sure I'm avoiding any incoming torpedoes that I'm fully expecting. And right there, we see them pop up. And now we're looking around, and what happens is I have the cap open to me. The other destroyer has completely abandoned it. So this is the first scenario where I think this ship is absolutely going to be key. You have to get in, kill the destroyers early, and get that cap point. Alright, the second scenario here is open water engagements. Historically, in the light cruisers, you want to stay close to islands, you want to use those islands as cover. Well, in this ship, you don't necessarily have to do that. If you keep your engagements at anywhere from 10 to 17 kilometers, stay in that range, then you're going to have the ability to maneuver out of shots, and then also have the armor that will allow you to tank a lot of shells. And it's honestly such a fun playstyle. So right here, you see we have open water. We have an Alaska just off to the left here. We have a Tirpitz that's going to get spotted here soon, just coming off the sea cap. And honestly, at this point, it's my job to start whittling these ships down. You know, we only have a 2-ship lead at this point. That can be easily flipped. But since we do have that armed and ready perk, we can tell when the ships are aimed at us. And that's going to give us a good indication when we need to be hitting throttle, when we need to be hitting the brakes, turning in, turning out. And if we continue to do that in unpredictable fashion, it's going to be an extremely frustrating time for the ships shooting at us. Whereas I'm going to be able to rain shells. Even if I miss a full salvo or two, it's only taking me 6 seconds, and I have another salvo ready to go. So this is a battle that we absolutely can win, and I would even call it a favorable matchup. Even going up against the full health Alaska, you see we do have some destroyer support, but we're going to be able to catch fires. We're going to force them to burn their damage cons to put out the fires, or they're going to have to sit there and eat torpedoes. So one way or another, we're going to continue to whittle them down. Alright, for this last scenario here, this is going to be covering 2 different topics. One is going to be what we're going to do to take advantage of the firing arc of the ship, but also it's going to be kind of a teaching moment of what to do if you come up against a Worcester in the same type of scenario. So right here you see we have the Odin that's only 5 kilometers away. But we have just enough shell arc to get it up and over the landmass here and land these shells. As of right now, we are completely unspotted, so we are literally just farming damage while we continue to capture this point. Eventually here, we're going to get spotted, and at this point, the Odin has a decision to make. Do they want to press in, or do they want to continue retreating? You see, their shells don't have enough arc to make it over. So this is the one area, you know, I was talking about the light cruisers sitting behind islands. This ship is absolutely great at it. It's going to sit there and just completely abuse ships all the way through. And you'll watch as we go through here, we're going to take this Odin's full health away throughout this entire battle. But more on if you're coming up against a Worcester. If you're in this scenario, you need to be pushing into the ship. If you're within 5 kilometers, close that distance, and especially if you have torpedoes, close the distance and use those torpedoes, because this ship will absolutely go down quickly. If it ate 2 or 3 of the torpedoes that the Odin has, this would be game over. I would be taken out of the match, and honestly, I think the Worcester is one of the stronger ships that you want to get off the map as soon as possible. So don't be afraid to push when you're in close quarters. This is the absolute wrong thing. I think they were expecting to be able to continue backing up and that I wouldn't be able to get shots over here. You're going to see after I get a couple fires started, I go ahead, switch over to AP. We're getting solid damage numbers. And if you would do the math on the DPM, it would be off the charts what this AP has the potential to do. But that's all I have for this one. Honestly, I think this is a great ship. The other scenario, if you want to talk about it, is making this thing a virtual no-fly zone. Since we can match Legendary and Tier 7 now, if you have a buddy wanting to play a carrier, you can go ahead, bring your Worcester in, set it up for AA build, and just absolutely obliterate the enemy planes, especially now that they've been nerfed quite a bit. But if you have any questions or concerns, please leave them below. If this is your first time coming to the channel, consider hitting subscribe. We'll have a lot more videos coming at you shortly. Have a great day.